The WWE Universe just witnessed something absolutely unthinkable that nobody saw coming, and trust me when I say this moment is going to be talked about for years to come, because Seth Rollins just did the impossible by apologizing to Roman Reigns in what might be the most shocking and emotional segment we have seen in professional wrestling this entire year. If you haven't hit that subscribe button yet, do it right now, because you definitely don't want to miss out on more incredible WWE content like this that will keep you on the edge of your seat. What happened on Monday Night Raw left everyone in complete shock as Seth Rollins stood in the middle of that ring with tears in his eyes and the weight of the entire wrestling world on his shoulders after having to relinquish the World Heavyweight Championship due to a severe injury that has been plaguing him for months. The arena was completely silent as the visionary struggled to find the words to express what he was feeling, and you could see the pain written all over his face as he realized that his championship reign was coming to an end, not because he lost in a fair fight but because his body simply could not continue. But then something happened that absolutely nobody expected in a million years, because as Seth was standing there vulnerable and broken down from having to give up the title he worked so hard to build and defend, he started talking about his journey in WWE and how he got to where he is today. He talked about the Shield and how three men came together to dominate the entire roster and change the landscape of professional wrestling forever, and then he started talking about the brotherhood he once shared with Roman Reigns before everything fell apart and their relationship turned into one of the most bitter rivalries in WWE history. Seth took a deep breath and looked directly into the camera, knowing that Roman Reigns was watching somewhere backstage or at home, and he said something that sent shockwaves through the entire WWE universe. He admitted that he was wrong for the way he handled things back when the Shield broke up, and he acknowledged that his ego and his desire to be the top guy in WWE clouded his judgment and made him do things that he now regrets. The emotion in his voice was so genuine and so raw that you could not help but feel every single word he was saying, because this was not some scripted promo or some storyline angle. This was Seth Rollins, the human being, speaking from his heart. He talked about how jealous he was of Roman Reigns when the Tribal Chief started his historic run as the Universal Champion, and how he could not stand watching Roman reach heights that he himself wanted to achieve. Seth admitted that he spent years trying to tear Roman down and trying to prove that he was the better man, but in reality he was just fighting against someone who was once his brother and someone he should have been supporting instead of trying to destroy. The vulnerability in Seth's words was something we rarely see in professional wrestling, where everyone is trying to act tough and maintain their character, but here was one of the biggest stars in the company admitting his faults and showing real emotion. The crowd did not know how to react because they were so used to seeing Seth Rollins as the confident, cocky champion who always had something clever to say, but now they were seeing a completely different side of him. Some fans started chanting his name in support, while others just sat there in stunned silence trying to process what they were witnessing, because this was not your typical Monday Night Raw segment. This was a moment that transcended wrestling and became something much deeper and much more meaningful than just entertainment. Seth continued by saying that he respects everything Roman Reigns has accomplished and that he finally understands why the Tribal Chief has been able to stay on top for so long. He talked about Roman's dedication to his craft and his ability to evolve and adapt to remain relevant in an industry that is constantly changing, and he admitted that he should have learned from Roman instead of constantly trying to compete with him. The sincerity in Seth's voice was undeniable, and you could tell that every word he spoke was coming from a place of genuine remorse and regret. Then came the moment that absolutely broke the internet and had social media exploding with reactions, because Seth Rollins looked into the camera one more time and said the words that nobody thought they would ever hear him say. He apologized to Roman Reigns for everything that happened between them and for all the pain and animosity that he caused over the years. He said that he was sorry for betraying the Shield and for turning his back on the brotherhood they built together, and he acknowledged that his actions contributed to the toxic environment that existed between them for so long. The emotion in the arena reached a fever pitch as fans realized they were witnessing history being made right before their eyes, because Seth Rollins apologizing to Roman Reigns was something that seemed absolutely impossible just a few months ago. These two men have been at each other's throats for years, and their hatred for each other seemed so genuine that nobody thought they could ever find a way to make peace. But here was Seth Rollins putting his pride aside and admitting that he was wrong and that he wanted to make things right before it was too late. What made this moment even more powerful was the fact that Seth was relinquishing the championship at the same time, which meant he had nothing left to prove and nothing left to lose. He was not apologizing because he wanted something from Roman or because he was trying to manipulate the situation for his benefit. He was apologizing because he genuinely felt remorse and because he wanted to clear his conscience before stepping away from the championship that defined his entire year. The cameras then cut backstage, where Roman Reigns was shown watching the segment on a monitor, and the look on the Tribal Chief's face was absolutely priceless. You could see a mixture of surprise, confusion, and perhaps even a hint of respect as he listened to Seth's words and watched his former brother bare his soul in front of the entire world. Roman did not say anything in that moment, but his facial expression spoke volumes and left everyone wondering what his response would be. The WWE Universe immediately started speculating about what this could mean for the future of both superstars and whether this apology could lead to some kind of reconciliation between Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns. Could we possibly see the Shield reunite one more time, or is this simply Seth trying to clear his conscience before taking time off to heal his injuries? The possibilities are endless, and that is what makes this moment so intriguing, because nobody knows what is going to happen next. Social media absolutely exploded after this segment aired, with fans from all over the world sharing their thoughts and reactions to what they just witnessed. Some people praised Seth for showing vulnerability and being man enough to admit when he was wrong, while others questioned whether this was all just part of some elaborate storyline. But anyone who watched that segment could tell that the emotion was real and that Seth Rollins was speaking from his heart regardless of what the future holds for this storyline. The timing of this apology is also incredibly significant because Seth is relinquishing the championship, which means he is going to be out of action for a while to heal his body and recover from the injuries that have been bothering him. This gives him time to reflect on his career and his relationships, and when he eventually returns to WWE, he might be a completely different person with a completely different perspective on what really matters in life and in professional wrestling. Meanwhile, Roman Reigns continues his reign as the tribal chief and continues to dominate the WWE landscape with the bloodline by his side. But now there is this lingering question of whether Roman will acknowledge Seth's apology and whether he will extend an olive branch to his former Shield brother. Roman has shown in recent months that he is capable of forgiveness, as evidenced by his interactions with other superstars, but whether he is willing to forgive Seth Rollins after everything that has happened between them remains to be seen. The wrestling world is also buzzing with speculation about what this could mean for the bloodline and whether there could be some kind of shift in dynamics within the faction. Could Seth Rollins somehow find his way back into Roman's good graces and become part of the bloodline, or is that just wishful thinking from fans who want to see the Shield back together one more time? Only time will tell, but what we do know is that this apology has opened the door to countless possibilities and storylines that could unfold in the coming months. What made this segment so powerful was not just the words that were spoken but the way they were delivered, because Seth Rollins showed a level of vulnerability that we rarely see in professional wrestling. He was not trying to be tough or maintain some kind of character, he was just being himself and showing real human emotion, and that is what resonated so deeply with the audience. People connect with authenticity and they connect with real emotion, and that is exactly what Seth gave them in this segment. The fact that this all happened while Seth was relinquishing the championship added another layer of emotional weight to the entire situation, because he was not only apologizing to Roman but he was also saying goodbye to the title that meant everything to him. The World Heavyweight Championship represented Seth's hard work and dedication, and having to give it up because of injury was clearly devastating for him, and you could see that pain in his eyes as he spoke. This moment also highlights the physical toll that professional wrestling takes on these athletes, because Seth Rollins has been performing at an elite level for years and his body finally reached a breaking point. The injuries he has sustained over the course of his career have caught up with him, and now he needs time to heal and recover so that he can come back stronger than ever. This is a reminder that these superstars are not invincible and that they sacrifice their bodies every single night to entertain us. The WWE Universe now waits with bated breath to see how Roman Reigns will respond to Seth's apology and whether this could lead to some kind of reconciliation between the two former Shield brothers. Will Roman accept the apology and forgive Seth, or will he dismiss it as too little too late? The tribal chief has always been calculated and strategic in everything he does, so whatever his response is, it will definitely be significant and it will definitely have major implications for the future of WWE. As Seth Rollins takes time away from WWE to heal his injuries, he leaves behind a legacy of incredible matches and unforgettable moments, and this emotional apology to Roman Reigns will definitely be remembered as one of the most powerful segments of his career. He showed courage and humility by admitting his mistakes and by reaching out to someone he once called his brother, and regardless of what happens next, this moment will be talked about for a very long time. The entire wrestling world is now watching and waiting to see what unfolds next in this incredible story between Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns, because this apology has changed everything and has opened the door to so many different possibilities. Whether this leads to reconciliation or whether it leads to even more conflict remains to be seen, but one thing is for sure, we are all going to be glued to our screens waiting to find out what happens next. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss any updates on this developing story, because this is just the beginning and things are about to get even more interesting in the weeks and months ahead. The WWE Universe has witnessed something truly special, and this is one of those moments that reminds us why we love professional wrestling so much, because it has the power to make us feel real emotions and connect with these superstars on a deeper level than just entertainment.